students, I am Teacher Louie and welcome to Electrical Installations and Maintenance. In this unit, we are going to tackle 3 lessons. For the first one, we have the Introduction to Electrical Installations and Maintenance. So, what comes first to your mind when you hear the word electricity? Electricity is a form of energy which results from the movement of charged particles such as proton, electrons, and neutrons. Also, electricity is a form of energy that can passes through the wires. Electricity consists of electron, proton, and neutron. Electron is the negative charge of an electricity because of the presence of negatively charged particles of an atom, while the proton is the positive charge, and lastly, the neutron, which is not electrically charged. Again, for the electron, the negative charge, proton, the positive charge, and neutron, not electrically charged. For an electric current to flow, it needs a circuit that requires the following components. Those are source of voltage, closed loop of wire or the path, electric load, and lastly, a means of opening and closing of circuit, which is the control or the switch. Now, let's proceed to the standard unit in electricity. The first one is the ampere. Ampere is the standard unit in electric current, which was named after the scientist Andre Marie Ampere. Next one, we have the voltage, which refers to the electrical pressure or electromotive force that causes electric current to move through a conductor. Siya yung nagpupush. It was named after the Italian scientist Alessandro Volta. For the third one, we have the watt, which refers to the power used or consumed or the unit of power. It was named after the Scottish engineer and inventor James Watt. For example, within a month, I consume almost 100 kilowatts or 200 kilowatts. Another concept related to electricity is the what we call resistance. Resistance is the friction or oppositions to the flow of current by the wires or the transformers. The friction in direct current is called resistance, while the friction in alternating current is called impedance. So again, what do we mean by direct current? Direct current is when electrical current flow consistently in just one direction, while in alternating current, the electrical current reverses directions periodically. The friction in both AC and DC are expressed in ohms, which was named after the scientist George Simon Ohms, who studied the relationship between current, voltage, and resistance. Again, for the standard unit in electricity, we have ampere, voltage, watt, and resistance. Now, let's proceed to the relevance of EIM or the electrical installations and maintenance. Do you know that EIM is necessary to maintain the standard installation of electricity in households and buildings? Also, it helps to prevent incidents of failures caused by the use of substandard materials and non-conformance to the electric codes that might cause loss of life and damage to properties. Through EIM, the proper use of electricity will also be emphasized. In addition with that, this course will give you an idea on how to deal with simple electrical troubles, especially when you are already familiar with basic principles that you will learn in this course. You can shoot minor issues at home or different appliances, like for example, light switches are not working properly or the electric pans, you know how to deal with it since you have enough knowledge about this course. But remember, major electrical problems requires the attention of expertise in EIM since they are the right person to deal with such problems. Since we are done with the relevance of EIM, let's now proceed to the career opportunities. Do you know that EIM will gives you an opportunity to become an electrician, EIM helper, machine repairer, or even maintenance personnel? Those who wants to pursue career in EIM must take an examination specific to the field that they want to pursue. By studying EIM, you will gain knowledge of using different supplies, tools, materials, and equipments that conform to the Philippine Electrical Code Standard. So, do you have any questions or clarification in our Lesson 1? Now, let's proceed to Lesson 2.
Our Lesson 2 is all about preparing electrical supplies, materials, and use. Electrical installations and maintenance is course focused on installing material. So here's some of the specific materials or tasks in EIM. Fixing up convenience outlets to their proper locations. Second, installing lamps on ceiling. Third, wiring installation such as series, parallel, or the combination of series and parallel circuit connections. And also, the fourth one is the troubleshooting of non-functioning bulbs or lamps. And the last one is the fixing light switches. And other tasks related to EIM included the following. First one, making electrical plans. The second one, requesting purchasing, inspecting, receiving electrical supplies and also the materials. The third one, estimating cost of EIM specific tasks and drafting electrical layouts. And the last one, repairing electrical wires and attending to other electrical. After knowing those lists of services in EIM, so let's proceed to the common electrical tools in EIM. Are you ready? Let's go! So let's start with cutting tools. The first cutting tools is the electrician knife. So this is the electrician knife. As you can see, this electrician knife used to remove the installation wires, and the primary use of an electrician knife is for the cutting wires, cables, and also stripping of their plastic insulations. Aside from that, it is also frequently used in cutting boxes. One is what we call the hacksaw. Hacksaw is used to cut conduit pipe, fine tooth saw with a blade under tension in a frame that is used for cutting hard materials such as the metal. After knowing the cutting tools, let's proceed to the splicing tools. So the main purpose of splicing tools is acts as the conjunction to firmly connect the two wires to each other and also lengthen the wires or connect the broken wire. The first splicing tools is what we call the side cutters. As you can see in the pictures, these side cutting pliers is to cut the wires, cables in different sizes, and also it removes insulation of the wire. The next one is the combination pliers. It is used to grip, hold, and also cut wires and cables. Aside from that, it is useful for bending and compressing a wide range of materials. The next splicing tools is what we call the wire stripper. So as you can see, it is used to remove insulation of a medium-sized wire from gauge number 10 to gauge number 16. It is also known as the cable stripper, which are designated to remove the insulation from outer sheet of electrical wires. And also, there are various types of available from stripping the cable to cutting copper. So after knowing the cutting tools and the splicing tools, let's proceed to the measuring tools. The first one is the multi-tester. So to measure the voltage resistance and the current of a circuit. And also, it may be a digital or a analog. The second one is what we call the ammeter. So the main purpose of the ammeter is to measure the intensity of electrical current or a circuit. And also, ammeter usually has a low resistance, so it does not cause a significant voltage drop in the circuit being measured. So let's take a look to the picture of the ammeter. The third measuring tools is what we call the voltmeter. So voltmeter, the main function or use of voltmeter is to measure the amount of voltage or the electromotive force of a circuit. Aside from that, it is connected in parallel. It is usually a high resistance so that it takes negligible current from a circuit. Again, that is what we call the voltmeter. The next one is the micrometer. So the use of micrometer is to measure the diameter of a small and a big wire of a cable and small pieces of electrical material. So this is the picture of micrometer. Second to the last measuring tools is what we call the pull-push rule. I know we are very familiar to these tools. So this tool is used to measure the length of the material, particularly conduit pipes, wires, and also the cable. So push-pull rule, this is what look like. And the last but not the least of measuring tools is what we call the test light. So test light used to test if there is a current in a circuit. So it means this tool used to determine the process of electricity in a piece of equipment under the test. After that, let's proceed to the driving tools. So the first one is the Phillips screwdriver. So Phillips screwdriver is used to loosen and also to tighten the crosshead screw. Aside from that, did you know that it is called Phillips screw because the person who invented this tool is named Henry Frank Phillips? Now you know. So the next one is what we call the flathead screwdriver. So the main purpose or use of flathead screwdriver is to loosen and tighten the single slot head screw. The third one is what we call the stubby screwdriver. So the purpose or use of the stubby screwdriver is to loosen and tighten screws in tight spaces where the standard screwdriver cannot be used. The fourth one is what we call the Allen screwdriver. So we are not familiar what is Allen screwdriver. The main purpose of this screwdriver is used for loosening and tightening screw with a hexagonal slot head, also known as the Allen wrench. As you can see in the picture, this is what Allen screwdriver looks like. So let's proceed to the different kinds of hammer. We have three. The first one is what we call the claw. So claw, this is very common and familiar to us. It is also known as a nail hammer. Aside from that, this tool used to both drive nails into wood and remove nails and other fasteners from wood. The second one is what we call the mallet. So mallet are used to gently shape objects, provide additional force for a chisel to be used, and put different parts together that otherwise would be damaged. The third one is what we call the ball peen. So it has two heads, one flat and the other called the pin rounded. Typically used for riveting work and shaping metal surfaces and tools. Next is the boring tools. The first boring tools is what we call the portable electric drill. So, portable electric drill is used to make a hole on the wall or even in a plastic or steel conduit pipe. Also uses a drill to make a hole. And the second one is the 12-way mini drill. So it is similar in function to the electrical drill or the foldable electrical drill, but it is limited the size of the drill bits. The last one is what we call the finishing tool. It has one, and this is the metal file. So metal file is for flat surface edges. filling inside of rings or enlarging round holes or cutting scalloped edge. Also, metal files are relatively expensive and effective tools for reshaping and also smoothing metal and hard plastics.
And next is the basic maintenance of electrical tools and equipment. The first one is keep the tools after every use. The second one, keep the tools and equipment clean, especially those that are not used frequently. Then check cord first for wear and tear or cuts to avoid accidents. Oil tools and keep them in a dry place to prevent rusting, and also read the follow instruction on how to use each tool. Then use each tool according to its function only to avoid an accident. This is very important. And also keep heat, oil, and sharp materials away from electrical tools as they can damage the insulation. The last one, store tools in their proper places and designated toolboxes to keep them from accumulating dust. For the conclusion, keeping your tools maintained and stored properly when not used will help save you time and money, as tools in working condition will help you to do your task efficiently, effectively, and safely.
Our next topic is the basic electrical supplies and materials.
First is the wires. Passageway of current, stranded or solid core wire. The next one is the lamp holder. It holds and protects the lamps. It also known as a light sockets. Are fixtures used in lighting installations. The third one is the switch. It connects and disconnects the flow of current in a circuit. The next one is the junction box, octagonal box used for connection of wires, and also it protects the electrical connection from the weather, as well as prevent people from accidental electric shock. The next one is the utility box, a rectangular electrical box used for flash-type devices like switches. This is what we call the male plug, inserted to convenience outlet electrical device with 2 or 3 pins that is inserted in a socket to make an electrical connections. This is convenience outlet, source of current, receptacle in a wall or baseboard for connection to lamps or other electrical appliances. Second to the last is the circuit breaker or fuse, electrical safety device designed to protect an electrical circuit from damage caused by an overcurrent or short circuit. The last one is the conduits, passageway of wires, and tube used to protect and route electrical wiring in a building or structure. Let's proceed to the conductor and insulator.
First, let's differentiate conductor and insulator. Conductor means material or substance which allows electric current to flow. Always remember that a good conductor is one that is made of material that is extremely low resistance to the flow of electrical currents. While the insulator is opposite of the conductor, as it resists the flow of electrical current. Some materials that are resistant to the flow of electricity are the glass, plastics, rubbers, and also the wood. Always remember that conductors allow electric current to flow, while the insulator resists the flow of electrical current. Let's proceed to the types of light. The first one is what we call the incandescent bulb. I know all of you are familiar what is incandescent bulb. So incandescent bulb is a cheaper and start instantly. It has a high power factor. It has a good color. So incandescent bulb is what it looks like. The next type of bulb is what we call the fluorescent light bulb. So it is more efficient than the incandescent bulb as it lasts longer. It is cheap and may be dim. It has a low pressure mercury vapor gas discharge lamp that uses fluorescence to produce the visible light. The next one is what we call the mercury light bulb. So it has the compact focusable shape of an incandescent bulb and arc discharge of a fluorescent light bulb. It is good replacement for the incandescent bulb in conserving energy. The fourth one is what we call the metal halide lights. This is what it looks like. So, metal halide lights, it produces a warmer color than the mercury light bulb, but it's light up slower. Certain metal halides are unusable with mercury lamp ballast. So, metal halide lights, we are usually see this on the covered court or in an event, right? The second to the last is the high pressure sodium or the HPS light. So it is high intensity discharge or HID. The efficacy is double than that of a colored corrected mercury lamp. For me, it is good to use because why? Because it has a longer size or smaller high output and also has a longer life. And the last one is the low pressure sodium light. This is what low pressure sodium looks like. So it is also known as the SOX. The SO stands for sodium and the X indicated that a lamp is a low pressure sodium lamp that uses metal oxide. After knowing the types of bulb, let's proceed to the 10 common wire splices and joints. But before that, let's know what is wire splicing. Always remember that wire splicing, it is removing of the insulated material on a wire to connect it to another one. So it means it is a process of combining two lengths of wire so they can carry a current. The first one is the rat tail or joint. So it is commonly used to join wires in an outlet box, switch or conduit fitting. So this is rat tail joint look like.
In addition, a rat tail splice, also known as a twist splice or a pigtail splice, is very basic electrical splice that can be done with both solid and stranded wire.
The second one is the Y splice. So Y splice is method of wrapping is generally used on small cables because the strands are flexible and all can be wrapped in one operation. Then the third one is what we call the knotted top. So knotted type is used where top wire is under heavy tensile stress. So it's also type of way of splice two wires together. The branch wire is tapped on the main wire by joining it in a T formation. Always remember that knotted top is like a T formation. The next one is the plain tap joint. So, what is plain tap joint? So, it is used in tapping wire under the tensile stress circuit. So, plain tap or the T joints is used to great extent joining or a tap other conductor to a true conductor. And also the next one is the aerial tap. So aerial type is used to temporary tap, usually in construction sites have a supply in electricity. So for you to familiar what is aerial type look like, so take a look to this picture.
Aerial type, it is done through looping wire to the other with large gap on the first and second loop to serve as a space when movement is needed. The rest must be looped tightly.
And also the next one is the duplex cross joint. So duplex cross joint, this is a two-top wire twisted simultaneously and usually done in construction site. So it is also used when the two-top wire is under a heavy strain. So duplex cross joint is twisted simultaneously or tuloy-tuloy. So the next one is what we call the Western Union short tie splice. So this is used in interior wiring to extend the length of the wire from one point to another. So it is used to extend the length of a wire. And also, so it means this is used to extend the range of a cable wire from one place to another interior wiring. So this is Western Union short tie splice look like. The next one is the Western Union long tie splice. So this is used to extend the length of a wire from one end to another. Then, it is used extensively for outside wiring. It is quite similar to the short tie splice. It is also being used for interior wiring. So, Western Union long tie splice, take a look to this picture for you to be familiar. The next one is the cross joints. So, cross joint have the same application than in plain tap. The only difference is that this tap is a combination of two plain taps placed in side by side with each other. So this is cross joint lights. And the last one is the wrap tap or the T-joint. So wrap tap or the T-joint is used on a large solid conductors where it is difficult to wrap the heavy tap wire around the main wire.
In addition, electricians use strips of stranded wires to wrap around the three-form solid wires to connect and paste them together. For the conclusion, for Lesson 2, we tackled about the specific and related tasks in EIM. I also discussed the common electrical tools. So we have 6 classification, which is the cutting tools, splicing tools, measuring tools, driving tools, boring tools, and the finishing tools. We also differentiate the conductor and insulator, which is conductors allow electric current, while insulator resists the flow of electric current. And also the common wire splices and joints. So we have 10. We have right tail or pigtail, Y splice, knotted top, plain top joint, aerial type, duplex cross joint, Western Union short tie splice, Western Union long tie splice, cross joint, and the wrap top or the T-joint. And last, we discussed the types of light, which is the incandescent bulb, fluorescent light bulb, mercury light bulb, metal halide lights, high pressure sodium HPS light, and the low pressure sodium light.
Since we are done with Lesson 1 and Lesson 2, let's now proceed to Lesson 3 entitled Requesting Electrical Supplies, Materials, and Tools. First, we have the requisition and issue slip. It is accomplished if there is a job order to be done or supplies, materials, tools, and equipment are needed for electrical installations. It is important to file the request ahead of time so that the person in charge in supplies acquisition can prepare immediately the requested supplies, tools, materials, and equipment to avoid delay. So here's the example of requisition and issue slip. First, we have to indicate the name of institution as well as the address. Also, we have to indicate stock number, unit, description, as well as the quantity and remarks. Write the purpose, for example, for electrical installation at Port 27 building. Don't forget the signature of the assigned personnel. After the requisition and issue slip, let's now proceed to purchase request. It will be used after the requisition and slip is approved by the person concerned. It is a form wherein the needed items such as supplies, materials, tools, and equipment must be written. The estimate cost is the price approximation of a particular item. But always remember to indicate or specify the purpose of purchasing the listed items. So here's the example of purchase request form. You have to indicate the name of institution as well as the address, department, office, the date as well as the quantity, unit, item description, estimate cost, and the estimated cost. For example, the quantity is 4, unit are 2, item description, flex pipe 1.5 inches wide, the estimate cost is per 100, and the estimated cost is 1,600 since the quantity is 4. Also, include the purpose of purchasing the items. As you can see, there is a signature because it must be signed by the authorized personnel in the institution and the supplier. For the last one, after the requisition and the issue slip and the purchase request, we have the purchase order. It is another form that you need to be familiar so that you can do the task in electrical installation without wasting the money. It must be filled out after the purchase is granted. It is only used after the purchase has been made. It must be signed by the authorized personnel in the institution and the supplier. A condition is stated on the form when delivery is delayed. Here's the example of purchase order. You have to indicate the name of the institution, the supplier, and the address. Also, the PO number and the date. For example, March 8, 2022. Write the item number, unit, quantity, unit cost, and the amount. Don't forget the signature of the authorized personnel in the institution and the supplier. Again, for requesting electrical supplies, tools, and materials, we have three types of forms. First, we have the requisition and issue slip. Second is the purchase request. And lastly, we have the purchase order. Now, do you have any questions, clarifications regarding our lesson 3?